Now we're going to take a look at chapter 9, the written word, an eye for an ear. The written word is presented primarily through the phonetic alphabet. McLuhan states that the phonetic alphabet is a unique technology, that there have been many kinds of writing, pictographic and syllabic, but there is only one phonetic alphabet in which semantically meaningless letters are used to correspond to semantically meaningless sounds. The medium behind the written word is found in this phonetic alphabet. It came directly as a response to the spoken word, needing to then be able to place those spoken words into a permanent form. The message is the uniformity that allows the extension of pattern to go beyond one culture to many cultures. It says on page 116 that it is in its power to extend patterns of visual uniformity that the message of the alphabet is felt by cultures. Through these simple letters, these very few amount of letters, cultures are now able to universally communicate. They can translate, they can interpret, they can also create a permanency in their words. They're no longer spoken and then disappear as soon as the sound is said. Now they're able to record and remember and look back on and reflect on the self more as well. It says that it can be argued in that the phonetic alphabet alone is the technology that has been the means of creating civilized man, the separate individuals equal before a written code of law. The use of written word has altered society in many ways. One way is that it's created individualization. Tribal cultures are now able to separate themselves and become a citizen. It's also intensified visual function by having means of things to look at and interpret constantly instead of just hear. The visual is now upgraded. It's diminished other senses as an effect. It states that as an intensification and extension of the visual function, the phonetic alphabet diminishes the role of other senses of sound and touch and taste in any literate culture. Another altering is that it represses feelings and emotions. Phonetic culture endows men with the means of repressing their feelings and emotions when engaged in action. To act without reacting, without involvement, is the peculiar advantage of Western literate man. Being able to read something, it allows us to process, to internalize, to self-reflect on what we have just read without having to immediately react to it through a verbal sense. It also alters through power and authority and control of military. Much of the examples McLuhan included in this chapter were connected to the military. On page 118, it says that the alphabet meant power and authority and control of military structures at a distance. When combined with papyrus, the alphabet spelled the end of the stationary temple bureaucracies and the priestly monopolies of knowledge and power. Also, on page 119, it states that the transfer of power from the priestly to the military classes happened through the introduction of the written word. To take a look at how this medium stands as a metaphor, we do not have to look further than the title of the chapter, an eye for an ear. Through the phonetic alphabet, the spoken word has greatly been replaced by the written word. Therefore, what was once heard by the ear is now heard by the eye because it is read rather than heard. as the ears are radio receivers receiving those radio transmissions of the voice, those electromagnetic signals. The eyes now are the ones receiving, and so they take the place of that ear function. As a hot or cold medium, the written word is definitely a hot medium. It says on page 39 that the phonetic alphabet is a hot and explosive medium. Because of this, the alphabet, it intensified that main visual sense, and all other senses diminished. And through the intensification of that one sense, that is what pulls out the hotness of this medium. To conclude chapter 9, again, we're going to take a look at how the written word is being used currently in 2014. The written word in today's modern culture, through the use of the phonetic alphabet, has become so common that we're beginning to take steps backwards toward a pictographic and hieroglyphic writing. I've noticed that through the use of things like emoticons, that we've eliminated some of our written form. We no longer have to write that we are happy. We just simply attach a smiley face symbol to the end of our text, and the meaning is interpreted just the same. Thank you for your time. I hope that you gathered some new knowledge between chapters 8 and chapters 9 on McLuhan and how he sees these two things, the spoken and the written word, as a medium, as a message, as a metaphor, things that are altering society and are still being used today in our modern era.